It's always such a bother to introduce myself because many already know me and I really hate to brag about myself. I'm an artist, I'm a DJ, I run nights in London. I just like to provoke and do interesting stuff. I'm here tonight to DJ. I've been here before, I'll probably be here again. And I'm a product of the time. I started in London. There was a night, kind of a small night at Electroworks that was owned by some friends. They asked me to start DJing it. I had never DJed before. Obviously, I knew my way around the music world. I got good fucking taste, and I was like, I'll fucking give it a go. I entered into Electroworks as a DJ, did that night, then got booked at Slimelight, at Torture Garden, at Chaos, and the rest was history. Eventually, Coven fell apart, and I started my own night. I was DJing in London for like a few years, and I guess because of the way I look, I just started getting gigs worldwide. There is something to put here, which is goth. I say this from an English perspective. Goth is very fucking British. Like, it's been all around the world, it's across Europe, it's everywhere. But punk was a very British thing, which slowly turned into post-punk and goth and new romantic. It was everywhere around the world, but London was still its kind of base. That's where all the bands were from, that's where all the clubs were from. Where I do my own event in London, and I live by the rule of free self-expression, I feel like I've never had to state it. I have always been free self-expression. I've never been able to escape it. That, for me, is the status quo. It is the thing where, like, I have no fucking choice, and that is the thing I've suffered by. It is the thing that I've had a massive privilege to try and show, and it's the thing that I share with many of my close friends around me. To have self-expression and to revel in it is like one of the most important things. And like, when I travel the world, when I come here to Ritual in Rome, like, it's so magical to see other people inhabit the same space as what I do in London, and instantly have a sense of like companionship and fellowship. And even though for many of us we have such entirely different backgrounds, whether you're like gay, straight, brought up in the fucking church, which I think might be popular here, it doesn't matter. Like, we've all made the decision to go in a certain direction where we have decided that what we think is more important than the rest of society, and that is the thing that builds and grounds us as one united thing. I really hate to toot my own horn as to like why I might be different, or why I am carrying a flame that might be different to other people, but I also see it because like I'm not fucking blind. I know where my values are, and I can look out and kind of roughly have an idea of where other people's values are. I feel like I have been fortunate to grow up in a time where social media and the internet has been a burgeoning scene and has kind of grown in its own way, and there's definitely this kind of like slight partition between the old scene of goth, punk, techno that was very much based on who you know and the cultures around that, then the new scene, which is very based on like social media and kind of like coming together in this newfound way. But yet there is definitely this thread, and I think the thread is kind of like what I said earlier, which is about rebellion and kind of like staying true to your own identity. I don't want to say hierarchy because that sounds like a very follower leader position, but the things that we project now, especially in major European cities such as London, Rome, Paris, Berlin, these have always been at the forefront of subculture, fetish, all these DIY things. But what has changed so much now is the way that we have social media that connects us with Sao Paulo, New Mexico, Shanghai, and these are all cities that are, for the first time ever, having a slight glimpse into what we've been doing. And whatever we do in these major cities has this butterfly effect that echoes around the world. And it's really interesting to see, very particularly in South America, to see how, in my opinion, they are going through their first wave of whatever we've been doing. Now we have rebellion in the fucking worldwide sense. And what's interesting about that is you're suddenly including all these other nationalities, you're including other races, and that is a scene in itself. That you're literally getting a worldwide perspective of rebellion, a worldwide perspective of subculture, and worldwide perspective of goth and fetish. And this is where we've got a future in this. And in London, that's where it's kind of got interesting, is because you come to a night like mine, and it is actually diverse, it's actually creative, and you get to view all these different standpoints and influences on goth as we know it, but in a different lens. And that is going to keep expanding further and further out, and we're going to see way more interesting things. So goth is not over, punk is not over, and fetish is not over, it's just begun.